Hi, I'm Fiona Healy from the Bump Room Beyond Birth. When can I go back running, or when can I go back into my gym class? It's possibly one of the most common questions I get from postnatal women as a women's health physio. And of course, everyone expects a time or wants a time, but that is not something that I can give you. Basically, it's when is your body ready? And often it's the pelvic floor or the pelvic area, the pelvic region, that is the limiting factor in getting back to running. So you need to wait until that is ready. So body readiness or pelvic floor readiness is probably something that you need to consider as opposed to a time. So I'm going to take you through a load, gradual kind of impact plan. This is best done with a chartered physio, but this can be a really useful video to help you gauge where you're at in terms of return to running. So one of the first things I'm going to get you to do is up in standing. And actually, before I even start, to do these, you need to be walking for 30 minutes without symptoms. So by symptoms, I mean leaking or a feeling of heaviness within the vagina itself. So if you're getting those symptoms on walking, trying to add in impact onto that is not a good idea. You need to wait a little bit longer, work on your strength, work on your breathing strategies, and then come back and visit these. So testing this is assuming that you've no symptoms for 30 minutes of walking. Okay, so getting back, the first thing you're going to do is come up onto the tiptoes, and I'm going to get you just come down onto your heels. Okay, so you can play around with speed, you can play around with the impact that you're actually having. So what you're doing is basically checking what's happening in my body. Okay, so really you should feel a calf, your effort in your calf, and as you're coming down, there shouldn't really be any impact. So if you're leaking or if you're feeling heaviness here, what's happening basically is an imbalance of pressure. So the pressure down below is being superseded by the pressure above. So the pressure above is coming down and it's too much for the pelvic floor beneath. So what can I do to improve my pressure coming up? I can do my pelvic floor exercises, so my pelvic floor is ready for impact. So they're my isolated pelvic floor exercises, and there's a video already on the channel to show you how to do your isolated pelvic floor. But during the exercise here is not the time to be clenching your pelvic floor. So I think when you have that feeling of leaking, you can end up trying to grip onto the pelvic floor, but that makes the pelvic floor less available to be able to move in response to that impact. Okay, so if you were leaking or you were feeling heaviness, I want you to try it again, and this time try and let go of the pelvic floor. Okay, so it seems counterintuitive and it can take a couple of goes, so slow it down and just see, can you relax the pelvic floor? Okay. Pressure above, so pressure above the system would be breath holding or gripping through your abdominal muscles. So just having a think again as you're doing that, are you holding a lot of tension in your abs? So you'll remember from my video on pelvic floor muscle cheats where we talked about this overuse of the ab muscles. If you're doing impact exercises with your abs gripped, there's going to be a lot more pressure coming down through the pelvic floor. So trying to let the tummy muscles relax and trying to breathe. Okay, so let's go back over that again. So how are you feeling again? Basically, we don't want any pressure within the vagina or any leaking. So playing, or if you're feeling pressure or you're leaking, play around with those things. Can you relax your pelvic floor a little bit more? Can you let your tummy go? Can you breathe a little bit more? Relax your shoulders. I find women who leak tend to hold a lot of rigidity in the body, so just trying to make things just flop a little bit more in terms of upper body. Julie Weave, really famous physio in the US, she talks about a ski jump, so where you're leaning into it. So just playing around with that now on the next one. If you were feeling symptoms, you're doing the same thing, but this time you're just slightly leaning into it as you come down. And does that make you feel any better, or does it lessen your symptoms down below? So playing around with breathing, relaxing the abs and releasing the pelvic floor. Doing your pelvic floor exercises at another time, not when you're in the middle of impact exercise. So say you've passed that test and you're feeling actually good, the next thing you might try and do is a stomp. Okay, so you're just basically lifting up one leg and you're stomping down. Okay, can I do the same on the other side? All the same principles apply. Okay, so stomp and stomp. Okay, so if you're feeling nothing, that's great. You've passed that level. If you're feeling it here, again, you play around with the strategies we just talked. Releasing the pelvic floor, breathing, a forward lean, releasing the abs. The other thing I find that can help initially with impact is breathing out on the impact. Now, ultimately, when we're running, we want to be able to control our pelvic floor as we breathe in and as we breathe out, because obviously when you're running, you're not going to be focusing on your breathing, you're just going to be breathing as you're able. So, but with this stomp, when you're starting, you could try a breath out as your foot hits the ground. So, now that's only if you're having symptoms. If you weren't having symptoms, there's no need to change. There's probably no need to change any of the strategies within that exercise. But a stomp, okay, and a stomp. So if you're past that and you're feeling good doing that, the next thing would be a little jog on the spot. Okay, so a little jog. As you can see from here, I'm not lifting my legs very high at the start. I'm quite light on the feet. So if I want to change, if I want to change how I do that, I can go higher with the legs, I can go heavier, I can go faster. So play around with that, and that can give you a good indication of where your pelvic floor is at. So say again that you are feeling symptoms, slow it down maybe, don't lift as high, so just slow it down. You're doing the same thing. Am I breathing? Are my arms relaxed? You see a lot of postnatal runners will be very gripped and kind of held like this. You need to allow arm swing, relaxed pelvic floor and relaxed tummy. Okay, so again, you're feeling good jogging on the spot. Then we want to try and take it a little bit further. So maybe we'll try a hop on the spot. So same things again, how am I feeling within my pelvic floor? Okay, so again, if you're feeling nothing, you've kind of passed the test and you're able to do a number of repetitions, you might speed it up. You might try and go a little bit harder. Okay, so if you're leaking, you rein it back in. So say you're leaking and you're doing this, then you go softer on the feet. So can I take a little break between, again, maybe a breath out, maybe working on your breathing as you're doing it, but playing around with a strategy that may help you not have those symptoms during it. Okay, or if you were leaking straight away when you did that, you go back to your stomping and maybe work on your stomping for a little bit longer. Again, if that was good, you might try a hop on one leg. Okay, so same thing, you can go high, you can go fast, you can go lighter. You see if I slow it down, there isn't so much of a stomp. If I go faster, you can hear me stomping a little bit more. Try either leg as well. You might notice maybe one side is weaker than the other. If that's all looking good, what you'll start into is forward bounds. Okay, so the difference between jogging on the spot and running is the step length. Okay, so a forward bound, a forward bound basically is a step forward. So again, this is going to be one to really play around with if you are a runner and you are leaking. You can just start off maybe with a short step. Could you go longer? Could you try and land lighter? Now, landing lighter will involve strength in your legs, so you will need to, when you are trying to get back running, you will need to strengthen up the rest of your body as well. Okay, so the forward bounds again done on either side, a higher jump, a longer jump, and focusing on your landing as well. Thinking about all those strategies again that we talked about. So a relaxed pelvic floor, a relaxed belly, relaxed breathing. If you're good on the forward bounds, then you're ready to introduce some bit of impact, so some bit of running. Usually, typically, it's the Couch to 5K program that we'd recommend, so a gradual walk, run. So you may be ready for a short bit of running, you may be ready for a short bit of running on the flat, but actually a longer distance, your body just may not be ready for that, and that's okay. Working where you're at and then constantly trying to push that boundary and push yourself into being able to control it for a little bit longer and a little bit longer, rather than expecting yourself to suddenly be able to just do 5K. So I hope those tests really helped you figure out where your pelvic floor is at the minute. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below and we'll get back to you.